Yeah. Good singing, G. Welcome.
Oh my god!
Pop to the toilet.
I just had a splashback. Holy shit! My arse is so wet now.
Why don't you put paper down first?
Sometimes it's a nice splashback, but this one went straight up the hole. It really fucking stunk.
For God's sake, Daniel.
Did you hear Hayley then? Did you hear that?
Sorry, Hayley.
Why can I hear you lot on my stereo and on my telly? How's that?
Because you probably set it to some fucking weird setup. I don't know. Whatever you do.
I don't know.
System.
Oh, hang on. No, hang on. I'm in a. Oh, what the fuck?
Why'd you left the session?
I'm in the session. I know. How do I get out? Oh, I can hear myself talking as well. Invitation, here we go.
I love hearing myself talk.
Do you?
Yeah. I got such a sexy voice.
Have you though?
Yeah. Been told it's very deep and manly, so everyone's like, ooh.
Yeah. Sounds like homosexual to me.
Oh.
I'm back.
That sounds extremely narcissistic.
Ah, you love it, Andy. You love hearing my voice every single night.
No one loves hearing your voice.
You self-centered, self-loving, obsessed thingy. What's it?
It's 2021, boys. You gotta love yourself these days. Come on.
You're meant to try to love yourself, not to actually love yourself.
Yeah, because Craig's working into tonight. All right.
The idea of loving yourself is to embrace yourself, not to actually love yourself.
Laney's in. Where's Maze in it? Maze Gamer.
Is the tier 2 bloke?
Maze Gamer.
Kelly back in.
Yeah, I'm here.
We got some good facts tonight, Kelly.
I've just got my missus is just doing toilet research.
Good. We're on it. We'll give the fans the proper toilet facts.
Oh shit. Is he good in Cleo?
Bod isn't he?
He might be terrible.
He is, yes. Yeah. Right, so let me run through it. We got myself, Bod, Dehuis, Melted, Matt.
No, Ian's not in.
No.
I thought you had a chat with him.
Find me something else interesting.
I thought you had a chat with him.
What's up with Ian anyway? I've not heard from him in a while, like properly.
God knows. He knew he was getting a bollocking last night, didn't he?
Wow, what did he do last night?
He came in all snivelly and shit, so that we couldn't have a go at him. He made himself sound really pathetic just so that we wouldn't have a go at him, because
Andy,
he knows I can't have a go at him. Mate, I couldn't have a go at him because he sounded so broken. I just couldn't. He sounded like he was heartbroken. At the end, he comes in like, "Oh,
how could you tell the difference?"
Because he just sounded like fucking upset.
Wow, what did he do?
I didn't get a word of it.
He's just not been around, Matt. He's just.
Oh, right. Oh, so it's nothing to do with driving then?
No.
Oh, right, okay.
It's me. Me and Ugbar have been doing all the stewards' inquiry.
Is he staff then, is he?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
This is why I'm just. This is why I'm
It was
just a
actually G's
commentator.
clever idea to get him in because G was
It's a
like,
good
"Oh, I
idea,
think
mate.
get in, and he's doing really well." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, then go on." He briefly joined us as a driver interview the other day.
Yeah.
Are we all looking forward to Vietnam on Friday?
Nope.
Yeah, I am.
I'm tested.
Love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Vietnam. I don't mind the Vietnam track. To be fair, it's quite a good track.
Never driven it.
Why is he so pitiful?
I find it is easier for me to aim.
No worries, mate.
I guess me and Andy need to shut up.
Good idea.
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up!
Shut the fuck up!
How did Formula Renault go the other night, Dan?
You shut the fuck up.
I destroyed it, mate.
Seriously?
Seriously.
Okay.
I was 40 seconds ahead.
I'll let you off.
I did donuts.
You had donuts on the last lap.
I'd have docked him points for taking the piss.
Mate, I actually said he should get a 15-second penalty because he crashed into someone while he was doing donuts.
Oh, that's definitely a penalty. Oh, 100% that should have been a penalty.
As well. He was leading by 40 seconds, and then he eventually won it by like 10. So I said we should give him a 15-second penalty so he'd lose the win.
Cheating bastard.
No stewards inquiry, so it's
I'm
fine.
so proud.
Just like Jason Plato.
Too right.
Could have been worse. He could have crashed everyone else
There
out,
we go.
like Matt Neal.
We've started it there. The gloves are off now. It's
Yeah,
go time.
Here we go.
Right, I'm muting. See you later.
See you. Best of luck, lads. Best of luck.
Cheers.
Tell us when we're live, Jig. You're not racing, Jig? How are you there? I couldn't see your name on leaderboard though.
It's on Dean House. Turn that off. Thank you.
Welcome back to Motive Racing then, this time round for the Tier 1 Clio Cup. I'm Matthew Duffin, joined in the commentary box by the one and only Kelly Davis. Kelly, how are we?
Yeah, I'm alright, mate. Yeah, I'm not too bad. I've just, as people who've been tuning in have probably been watching, I've just been racing, but we'll get into that in just a minute. I'm just still trying to mop my brow and, and take my overalls off and stuff like that. But, yeah, I'm good, mate. And yourself?
Yes, not too bad. Can't seem to shake this cough, but apart from that, we're all golden. Here for the
Marvellous.
Tier 1 Clio Cup then, round one, feature sprint race, one of the races. We're here for the sprint race to start with a 20-minute race around the Sakito International Circuit, one half of the Suzuka track that is famously known in the F1 and has hosted some brilliant races over the years in that category. But tonight they are hosting the Clio Cup, and some of the best drivers in the Clio Cup here at Motive Racing are on the grid tonight. Short sprint race then, followed by a long feature race. This is just a quick 10-minute practice session to get the drivers warmed up and tweak them last-minute setups. We will go through the grid order in just a moment in between the practice and the race. Obviously reverse championship standings, and I can actually tell you that the standings are as follows. When I can find them, there they are.
You can find your notepad.
Yep. Diony G leads the championship by 50 points from Luty McShooty and Motoring Morgan and John Boy, all tied on 85 points. 3 points further back from them is Disco Racing Stu with Unorthodox. Bit of a jump back in P6. Melter Daza in 7th, only a point behind him. DeHuis Rocker 12 behind him in the middle of the table. Andy, after a great performance last week, is sort of mid-pack now and really pulled himself out of a relegation scrap. Excuse me. Bod then comes up behind Andy, just 6 points behind him, with Emo Guy 2 points off the back of him, and Zeus 4 off the back of Emo Guy. So it's quite tight, no matter where you look. It's tight between a couple of drivers. Little Leach and Shoulders are tied on 28 points. Little Leach not able to be here tonight, so he'll lose out to Shoulders. And then Fury a point ahead of Gary at the bottom of the table, but them two drivers not here as well. So they are your championship standings. The grid has obviously reversed that, but any sort of filler drivers I think will be at the back of the grid, if I am led to believe. We're on board with Looty McShooty, who's just gone across the line at a 110.5. Kelly, you've just raced in this race in the Tier 2s. What was the track and how did the cars handle around the track?
Right, okay. If you can imagine like having slick tyres on ice with no steering wheel and your car about 12 kilos in total weight, then you'll still not experience how terrible these cars handle. It seems to be with project cars, the slower the car, the worse it handles. It seems to be with this game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with you.
It's extremely tricky out there, and as you'll start to see as we watch Looty McShooty, see the back end skipping around. It's like that all the time with this car. It's really difficult to drive. These guys, you've got to take their hat off to them. I only joined in late. It was the first time I've driven the track, second time I've driven the cars. My best lap out of all of it was a 1:14, and as you can see, the top 6 or 7 have destroyed that already. Don't think for 1 minute that it's easy and it's little Clios and all, aren't they cute and all that. They're not. They're not cute. They're little animals, little terriers they are.
What was the circuit like to drive? Obviously, one half of the Suzuka circuit that we all know and love. Yeah. What was the track like as a track?
As you drive it, I mean, I've driven, over the years, I've driven Suzuka on different platforms many times and love Suzuka. I love the uphill, the S's up the hill. I think it's a real driver's track, This is nothing like it. It's because of the layout of it. As you can see, again, we're still on board with with Looty. As you can see, you've got elements of Suzuka, but the famous spoon corner is backwards. So you go up the hill and backwards into spoon. And the start-finish straight is there just before 130R. So it's fun. Don't get me wrong. The downhill dip section that Dan and Andy have named the roller coaster section. When you get that right, that's really quite satisfying. The chicane towards the end of the lap, again, is quite satisfying when you get it right. When you get it wrong, it's a disaster.
Yeah.
But the track itself, great fun to drive. Enjoyed driving the track. But as I said, they are a handful. So look out for lots of action like we had in Tier 2.
Well, I was going to say, I was watching the Tier 2 stream and I saw quite a few time penalties for drivers all up and down the grid. Obviously pushing the track limits just that little bit too far. And you're right, Spoon going the normal way is quite a tricky corner to get right, as it's quite fast on entry and then sort of tightens as you get round it. It's obviously a lot tighter on entry now and it'll be a bit quicker on exit.
Exactly right, Matt. You have to pick your braking point, stay off the curbs, and the second part of Spoon, which is normally the first, is flat. You can accelerate right through it, you know. But as I said, you have to. It's obviously exactly the opposite. It's tight and then opens up on the way out. But I've never driven that backwards, so it's quite good. It's quite good.
An interesting fact to have then on this Project Cars platform, the grids that we know and love, but in a different layout to what we are used to driving, and it really does make these drivers have to think about what they can do and how to approach each corner. It's not like just turning up and going, Suzuka, I know Suzuka, or Sakita as it's known as on this game. I know what to do around here. It's completely different kettle of fish, as Kelly was saying just there. On board with Unorthodox at the moment, and he and Andy just sort of, well, I don't know what Dan was doing there, but him and Andy just sort of having a little battle in this practice session. 2 minutes 55 remain in this practice session. Two men not done a time yet, Maze Gamer and the Only G.
Yep, and what's your prediction, Matt, for this evening? Who do you think's going to be quick round here?
It's pretty much the same as every week. the only G and Motoring Morgan, I think, will be the quickest two guys. But I won't rule out Looty McShooty, Disco Stu, and John Boy as well. Andy, another guy who can do bits in the Clios. I think he's one to watch. But I think it's hard to look past Motoring Morgan and the only G. Yourself?
Yeah, pretty much same as you, really. I mean, Andy and Dan are quick in various disciplines, and so is Ian, emo guy.
Yeah.
They're all race winners in different disciplines, so I wouldn't rule any of them out. But if I was a betting man, which I'm not, my money'd be on G, I think.
Yeah, G or Morgan, I think, for me, the two to look out for. But like you say, Andy, emo guy, unorthodox bod, Zeus, De Huis Rocker, all race winners in different formats. But when it comes to the Clios, there's just something about Morgan and G that they just have the edge. Martin Story in the chat saying, I'm putting my outside bet on Laney. I do believe Laney is a filler for tonight's race, a stand-in, hoping to get a permanent seat in the Renault Clios. He's currently the quickest guy out on track at the moment. He says he's putting an outside bet on him, so he might be one to keep an eye on then as the night goes on. But yeah, it's hard to look past the two main title challengers, Morgan and G. Although McShooty, as I say that, Morgan is tied on points with John Boy and Looty McShooty, who's both in their own rights had cracking seasons so far.
Yes, indeed. I mean, I'm looking forward to the kind of race that we had last week at the Red Bull Ring, where the first, if you didn't manage to tune in, then go back and view it again. Last week's feature race, wasn't it? The first 10 laps, they were in 5 seconds of each other, the whole pack. You know, It was crazy racing, so incredibly competitive. And on top of that, the cars being, as I've said before, a handful to deal with. You know, so these guys only got to keep it all in check and point in the forward direction. They also have to battle each other as well. And there's not a lot of room on this track. It's not hugely wide.
Yeah, last week, like you say, like Kelly's just said there, go back and check out last week's feature race at Red Bull Ring. Zeus took a trip to Spa, and he's obviously not made it back yet because he's not in the lobby with us, so he's clearly still testing around Spa at the moment. But what an epic race! Until the pit window, like Kelly's just said, the first top 15 cars was within, I think, 3.8 seconds. I think was its lowest at one stage, and it was just absolutely bonkers. And then it sort of came back together at the end as well, after the pit stops, didn't it? Where peak groups of cars were starting to form and battles was to be had in the dying laps of the race, and it was really good fun to commentate on and watch as well. So don't go anywhere, folks, because we've got a cracking sprint race and a cracking feature race for you. And with Laney currently setting the pace in the practice session, let's watch out for some surprises along the way. And obviously these guys, nothing to lose, looking to prove what they can do to get a permanent seat, will want to prove that what they've got and show what they're capable of. So Laney will really want to have a good crack at this one and try and prove what he's worth to get a full-time seat here at Motiv in the Renault Clios.
Absolutely, and that's practice session over. As we said, that is just a practice session. We're on reverse grid, aren't we, Matt? For the
we are.
For the sprint race, which will be coming up next.
We are, so I'll just go through it while we wait the drivers to just ready up and do their fine-tuning. You will see a graphic come up on your screen shortly with the grid order, but I'll go through it now. Shoulders will start on pole with Emo Guy second. Bod in third with Andy fourth. De Huis Rocker fifth. Melted Dazza P6 with Unorthodox 7. Disco Racing Stu in 8th. John Boy 9th. Motoring Morgan 10th. Looty McShooty 11th with G12. And then Laney, Charlie Goff and Maze Gamer will make up the final 3 spots. Obviously in as fillers tonight. So keep your eyes on them 3 from the back of the grid. Well, obviously G, Looty McShooty, Morgan, John Boy as well. Sort of starting a bit higher up than they probably normally would have due to the fact that there is a few fillers in tonight. So we'll see what them guys can do as they go through the field. Excuse me.
There's a nasty cough you got there, Matt.
Been struggling, mate. To be fair, been struggling for the last couple of days with this cough since the touring cars on Sunday. That's why I didn't do the tier 2s tonight, because I was just been struggling a bit all week.
Oh dear, that's not. You need to suck a fisherman's friend. That's what you need. So we're just getting ready as they start to do their final adjustments and get themselves on the grid and the game to sync us all together.
We are just waiting. Apologies for the lag on the stream. It's 8 o'clock, and as always, Virgin Media in London doesn't seem to be working for G tonight. So apologies if there's a slight delay on the stream. We hope to get that back to you as soon as possible.
Of course, other rubbish internet providers are available.
Yep. Looks like we're all ready to go then.
Yeah, so reverse grid for this one. So this will be a formation lap where they get themselves into the grid order, and then we will go green with a rolling start at the end of the lap once they're into grid order. So don't be confused by this start, because we are just getting ourselves, as I said, into the right positions for the start. So the feature race is a 20-minute race.
20-minute race, yep. 20-minute race.
The clock is actually running at the moment as we do the formation lap. So this starts as counts as part of the time as they get themselves sorted out. The sprint race, should I say, not feature race. Sprint race, 20 minutes, no pit stop, flat scat all the way to beginning to end. Again, ones to watch: Motion Morgan, Only G, Andy, Emo Guy, on Orthodubs,
John Boy, Luton McShooty.
John Boy, yeah. I tell you what, folks, just watch everybody.
Just stay tuned. We'll take you through it for the 20 minutes or just under 20 minutes racing that we'll have. Do not look away from your YouTube screen when it does eventually pick up, and hopefully the lag stops, because it is going to be chaotic for I'd say about 18 minutes worth of frantic action here. I'm just looking at the list on my phone and matching the list. Shoulders, Emo Guy, Bod, Andy, DeHuis Rocker, Melted Dazza, Unorthodox, Disco Stu, John Boy, Morgan, Luty McShooty, The Only G, and then Lane It, Charlie Goff and Maze Gamer. So they're all in order.
That's good.
So we're all ready to go, as we are going to wait for the leaders to come down, and it will be green, green, green when they hit the line. Oh, they'll be green when they get across the line. Shoulders can go at any moment, but you can't overtake anybody.
He wants to.
And it looks like he's gone now then, as we are going to be, for the first time in Tier 1 tonight. It's a long straight, this, if you forget how long it is when you rotate it backwards.
Absolutely.
And for the first time tonight, we are green, green, green then here for Tier 1 at Motive Racing in the close. And look at Emo Guy, already got a good run and looks up the inside of Shoulders into Turn 1. And he's already got that job done on the exit of Spoon. So Emo Guy straight up into the lead. Disco Stu's currently down in PA. Andy there. Oh, he's had a bit of a touch, and that's with Bod, I do believe. That's Andy and Bod into the side of the wall, and that is not the start they'd have wanted there, all the way down to the back of the pack. I think Andy's waited to let Bod back through. There's Laney, a man that we've been told to keep our eyes on in the chat. So let's see the pace he can progress at. Shoulders, P2 at the moment, and is sticking to the back of Emo Guy. He's not letting Emo Guy go anywhere, but look at the Whois Rocker in the background with Melted Dazza. Bit of a pack here. That's Unorthodox, who's just been overtaken up the inside by a bit of a send-it manoeuvre from John Boy. Morgan's then followed John Boy through, so Unorthodox losing out 2 places. He's now got Laney on the back of him. And look at these. Oh, someone's hit the tyre wall. I think that was Emo Guy, and then got punted in the side as he was sideways through the all the cars come through the chicane, and he's really lost out on a lot of places. And there's Laney, a man to watch.
Laney's gone.
Who's he been tangled up with? That looks like Luty McShooty's been tangled up with him. G's managing to make a few places through the pack. He's now up into P7, but Morgan, I said one of the men to watch, is already P4 and side by side with Melted Dazza for P3.
All action as we start again in the Clios, as I said it would be. Plenty of action up and down the field. We're only in the second lap and a half in, and we got people going everywhere. So, Motion Morgan is moved up the pace. Only G's made up loads and loads of places. Andy and Bod gone backwards. Emo Guy was leading for the first half lap. Now he's way back in 12th position, but it's still all to play for here, and this can go dreadfully wrong really quickly at any moment.
It really could, as Morgan on the back of Melted Dazza 4P4. This is Charlie Goffler, and with one of the fillers for tonight. He's up in 8th place from the back of the grid, trying to stay with the back of the Only G. As G is trying to put some pressure on Unorthodox just in front of him then. And this pack just starting to be separated from the pack in front as well.
Yes, indeed. The from Unorthodox is turning into a bit of a chicane at the moment. He's playing the Jarno Trulli role this evening about being in the way for everyone else. But I'm sure Dan will find his feet and get a move on. They've gapped from this other battle. Who's on the other battle? We've got John Boy.
That's John Boy, Morgan and Mtcc,
yeah, they're all in very close company. As Shoulders has got a little bit of breathing room, not a lot. A second and a bit, that could get sucked up really quickly when these two stop squabbling amongst themselves and start going forward.
Indeed it could. Mtcc currently just in front of Morgan and John Boy, who are battling a bit here and allowing him to just get away and stretch his legs a little bit. Dehuis Rocker's P2 just off the back of Shoulders, so a good start for Dehuis Rocker. Started P4 or 5, I do believe, on the grid. He's now trying to gain on the leader. And obviously the slipstream of these Clios, it might not be as effective around this track, but it will still be more effective for the guy in P2 than the guy in the lead with no slipstream whatsoever. But Dehuis Rocker's got to make sure he keeps with Shoulders. His Shoulders look like he made a bit of a mistake coming through the chicane. They just dipped two wheels too much on the grass and lost a bit of ground to the Dehuis Rocker in P2 then. What can Dehuis Rocker do about chasing down Shoulders? 14.5 minutes remain in this first race, and so far it's Shoulders from Dehuis Rocker, Mtcc, Morgan, John Boy. Unorthodox is still holding off the only G, with Disco Stew in 8th, Charlie Goff 9th, Emo Guy 10th, Maze Gamer 11th. Laney down in P12 with Looty McShooty 13th, Bod 14th, Andy P15. This is Emo Guy though, having a look up the inside of Charlie Goff, and it looks like Maze Gamer might fancy a bit of this. In fact, he might fancy both of them. He's going to have a look. He's backed out of that one. I think that was a bit wise. 3 into 1 does not go.
Not there, it doesn't. No, I had I was doing okay.
Oh!
Who's that? Is gone.
I think that's Maze Gamer. And possibly Laney again. Yeah, Laney, we said he could be one to watch from the comments in the chat. But he's had a terrible start to his Clio Cup campaign, and he's now down to last place. Beards Life, Evening Team Prolapse in the house, and Laney there as well. So's BT in the chat. But yeah, their man Laney dropping down the order again. He's been involved in a couple of incidents there, Kelly, this race already.
Yes, indeed, yeah. And as I said, it unfolds really quickly with these Clios. I was having a good run. A lot of chaos happened in front of me. I didn't qualify very well. Second from last, I believe. But a lot happened in front of me, and I was managing to pick up a lot of places, up to 6th or 7th, and then got punted into the wall, and that was my race over pretty much from there on in. But that's how quickly and easily you can go from 15th to 7th back to last in the drop of a hat on these. You get spun round. That's it. You're going backwards really quickly.
Well, backing up what you're saying there, Shoulders last lap was leading this race. He's now down in P5. You've just seen John Boy and Motor and Morgan go past him. He's now down P5 after the space of a lap. He's been a second, 1.1 in the lead. He's now 2 seconds off the lead. So that's how quick you can drop down in these Renault Clios. Dehuis Rocker now leads this race out from Mtcc, and then it's back to Morgan, John Boy, Shoulders 5th, and Unorthodox still holding off the only G at the moment for P6.
Yes, indeed. As we said, overtaking is not the easiest thing around this track at all. So it's going to take some serious driving. Here we go, as we go on board with the only G, is right up behind.
Oh, really pushing Dan there, isn't he?
Yeah, giving him a bit of a Matt Neal there, I feel.
I feel that's a bit harsh, but
I feel that's a bit fair.
He definitely gave him a bit of a bump. Oh, now what has Dan?
Maybe he's had a slowdown as he came off that chicane.
I wonder if that's why he gave him a bit of a tap. Then I wonder if Dan got the slowdown, but was trying to slow down and move out of G's way, and G just caught the rear of him. Totally like Matt Neal, then all accidental, and didn't mean to because the guy in front was slowing down. But
didn't mean to. Week in, week out. Didn't mean to. Sorry, Governor.
Disco Stuno is now on the back of Unorthodox, as you can see here from Emo Guy. G has really gone, and I tell you what, it's not been the race G I was predicting for G, because he was one of my tips to win this one. I know there's still 11 minutes on the clock and a long way to go, but he's 6.5 seconds off the back of the leader as it is. So Morgan up to P2. Morgan and John Boy's got past Mtcc. So the two other title challengers, because Looty McShooty's not having a great race, John Boy and Morgan really doing bits for their championship to reel in the championship leader, the only G.
Absolutely, and well, as we said, it ain't over yet. So let's see what happens when all the pushing and shoving is done. But yeah, these guys having a great battle. Moser and Morgan is right behind there for the lead. They're not getting away. Any of these three are all contenders. To be fair, everybody from first to 10th is probably still a contender. The way this can change. So yeah, all good so far.
Really is at the moment. Melted Dazzler there just dropping off the back. This front pack has really pulled away from Shoulders, who was leading not so long ago. They have really dropped him and left him for dust at the moment. He'll have G shortly on him, you'd imagine. John Boy, just looked like he lost the rear a little bit there, as he just probably took a bit more curve than he'd have liked. Has Morgan had a slowdown? Because that looked relatively easy for John Boy there, if you ask me.
Did.
So it looked like Morgan must have had a slowdown, but they're on the back of the leader as well here.
Yeah, they certainly are. That double right-hander is quite tricky, and it's reasonably easy to get a slowdown penalty on that. I went across there a few times, and the slowdown penalty pinged up, and I'm like, what? Why? You know, all the wheels. You know, certainly had a couple of wheels on the track. You know.
100%.
So
some of the, I feel that with Project Cars 2, that some of their slowdown penalties are a bit
ridiculous.
Yeah, you can take a normal racing line like you see week in, week out on the actual racing. You know, I remember doing a Knock Hill race once, and you know the way the touring cars clatter the second part of the chicane up the hill, and they go onto the two wheels, and you take that touring car line and immediately slow down penalty, and you're just like, but that's the line. What do I have to do? Brake properly to really actually turn so I don't even touch the curb. At times, some of the corners with the slowdowns are ridiculous.
They really are, and it's one of the faults of this game. You know, Project 2 has been a...
sorry, Kelly.
Slowing down now, was he?
I was just about to say, it looked like he had another slowdown. Also, the leader, Dehuis Rocker, looked like he got one, and he's tucked in now behind John Boy, who now leads this race. So another leader in this race. Dehuis Rocker and Morgan both look like they got slowdown penalties, and that has cost them dearly.
Yes, indeed, he certainly has.
I'll tell you who's got a slowdown. That's G there. He looks like he's got a bit of a slowdown. Doesn't look too quick.
I jumped to him because he was close behind Shoulders then, but he seems to have backed out of that. But again, possibly a slowdown. There's a few guys who've already got penalties. You can see on the stream, people who marked with red have got red by their names on the graphic there, have got penalties. We don't know what those penalties are. We can't tell in the commentary box, but we know that they have got them. So as you can see, those red dots, a few people have got penalties. We don't know how many. I ended the race, the last race. I did run out of fuel before I got to the end of it anyway.
Oh, brilliant.
And I had about, I don't know, 2.5 days of penalties, something like that. You know, I had about 12 seconds, which is crazy enough, to be fair.
2.5 days of penalties. Brilliant. Morgan then looking really racy. Melted Dazzler just a bit wide on the exit to that corner. Come down by the Ferris wheel now, and he gets that one a bit better. But what's the run like through the chicane? That's the important part at the moment, as John Boy leads this race, and from Dehuis Rocker really helping his championship out. He'll jump Morgan in the standings as they're tied on points and really start to close the gap on G. G's picked up a time penalty for himself, so that's not what he'd have wanted at the moment, especially if Disco still. Where's Unorthodox gone? He's dropped down to 13th. Just looking at the leaderboard, was just behind G. He's well down the order now.
Done a 119 as well, so he must have had a spin or something.
Yeah, a bit of a scruffy lap there for Dan. But yeah, look, Looty McShooty P9, he's not going to challenge much for G's championship, to real G in the championship. But Morgan and John Boy are, especially John Boy, leading this race. Morgan P4 will gain a few points over his main championship rival G, but not a lot. 4th to 6th, not many point difference, I do believe. But he's on the back of Melted Dazzler, and this four-way battle for the lead at the minute could get a bit interesting in the next 6.5 minutes.
Yeah, certainly could. Are these guys just following and waiting for their moments? Could well be. So the action could all change. All these guys know that they've got a chance of winning this, you know. So they're all going to want to keep it clean, keep off the curbs.
It's very reminiscent to a Colin Turkington sort of drive. Don't need to make the move until the don't need to make the move unless the opportunity arises for me. Morgan knows himself, as does John Boy, that this is good points over G for the title. obviously with plenty of races still left in this season, it's a good point to haul over G at the moment. They're not going to want to do something and send one up the inside and lose it, and G finish in front of them. It's a very Colin Turkington-esque drive from all four of these guys, as you see, Dahuis Rocker wide and Melted Dazza wide. That is Gev, Motoring Morgan the run up the inside. We say good evening to Gary and Monkey Boy.
Yes, indeed. These four having a cracking good race. Yes, as you say, Colin, those who follow British Touring Car, Colin Turkington's got to be the class of the field, the most complete driver in the British Touring Car Championship. He's very, very consistent. It takes a whole season to win a championship, not just one race. And points make prizes. So if you're steady driver and you're scoring good points, you can do extremely well. As Colin Turkington, as I said, usually gives a masterclass in patience and consistency.
Just looking at the championship standings, this is actually, these two races this week and next week, kind of the halfway point of the season here. The feature race and sprint race next week, kind of the halfway mark of the season. So tonight is obviously points mean prizes. G's not yet finished off the podium, so for Motoring Morgan and John Boy, they're really going to want to make sure they do finish in front of G and claw them points back. As you see Looty McShoot here having a look up the inside of Disco Stu. This is a man who's got to be elbows out if he's to stay in this championship hunt. Again, currently tied second with Morgan and John Boy, but down in P9 at the minute. He's got to really, this is now you're going to see the opposite from the Looty McShooty and John Boy here. One can be steady and just pick up the points even if he doesn't win the race. This guy has got to be elbows out, making the moves, getting them done, because he doesn't want to lose too much ground to G as we enter the halfway stage of the season, as that was Disco Stu a bit deep and heavy on the brakes, and that's Shoulders who's round. Once led the race, he's now down in P9. That's promoted G to 5th then.
It was lucky these guys all missed that, because he was kind of half across the track and whatever from what I could see, but these guys stayed out of that and held their positions as well, which is quite impressive, to be fair.
It was good driving from all three. Looty McShooty then, you see him looking very racy here, and he's trying to just look up the inside of Disco Racer Stu, but there's no room there as he uses the slipstream. Disco Stu will have the slipstream of Emo Guy up across the start line to start their 14th lap of this race. And over the line they come, 3.5 minutes remain, just under, and he knows he's not going to get it done up the inside of Disco Stu, so is he going to try and look for a cutback on the Exeter Spoon? Every time I see Emo Guy go into that corner, it looks like he's taking the entry pretty much sideways. That rear end looks like it steps out.
It's pretty much like that. It's pretty much like that, Matt, to be fair. That first turn one, you're always sideways. You seem to, every time you come round it. So, no doubt that it looks sideways every time.
Well, what can Emo Guy do? He's got two guys behind him looking very racy indeed. Can he hold them off? Bit of a bump there on the rear from Looty McShooty on the back of Disco Racing Stu. Not intentional, of course, but not affected them. Oh, he's gone for a good... That's a lunge, that. And he's gave the place back to Disco Stu. A bit of a clout on the front of Disco Stu's car. And it was a late move. And he saw an opportunity, but was very late on the brakes. Was never going to make that one work. It's a good job Disco Stu was there. Otherwise, Looty McShooty could have found himself shooting off into the wall.
Absolutely. Another classic Matt Neal, if you ask me. Went right through. So there was a sniff of a gap. We'll give it to Matt Neal. There's a sniff of a gap. He'll go in it. If he can get out of it, the other side is another matter. But certainly it was a little bit ambitious by Looty, that one. Who's gone out?
Emo Guy.
Gone wide.
Very wide, allowing Disco Stu and Looty McShooty up the inside. So Looty now up into P7. We've lost someone from this race. Morgan now leads the race. I've just noticed on my timing screen. John Boy, who was leading, is now down to P3, and he's now side by side with Melted Dazza. So once again, we've had about 6 different people leading this race. It's been absolutely chaotic. Great move from Melted Dazza there. Saw John Boy was going to go a bit deep. Let him have the corner, and that worked a treat. Got the cutback done nice and easy.
Yes, indeed. Motoring Morgan's now got to gap these two a little bit while they're scrapping. That's exactly what he needs to get his head down and get on and win this race. And it's the one that's in front at the end is the one that wins, funnily enough. There's been, what have we had, 5 or 6 different leaders in this race, but it's the one at the checkered flag that's the important one, and Motoring Morgan's looking like that man. If he can keep it all together, Of course. Oh, what's going on? Look
G.
at that's G. Yeah. G's just put a move on
De Huis Rocker.
De Huis Rocker. Yeah. He was leading this race quite comfortably for a little while. So G's on a charge. He's picking up points.
He is indeed. P4, time penalty to his name though, so we'll see how bad that affects him at the end of this race. John Boy's got past Melted Dazzler for P2, so can he hunt down Morgan? Still good points over G. I know G's up to 4th now, but it's still good points for the race win and 2nd place for John Boy and Morgan. Luty McShooty has got past Disco Stu. Disco Stu's dropped down to P8 now, back behind Emo Guy, and them two both have time penalties over Luty McShooty, so he should keep P6 under his belt. Just looking at the other charge, other drivers on the grid. Dan's up to 11th, Andy's up to 10th.
They all get a bit pushy-shovey here. Ian and Disco Shoe, which is letting Luty away.
I think Morgan's coming across the line there, Kelly.
Yep.
Here he is then. Motoring Morgan crosses the line. And I believe we've got one lap left then.
We've got one lap more, I feel.
We're all right, yeah. We're all right. One lap left to go then. Morgan has half a second to John Boy at the moment. John Boy's really worked hard on the back end of that last lap to catch Morgan. Yeah, I'm going to say G right on the back of Melted Dazzler here. This man is pushing hard. It ain't over yet. I don't think he's in for the race win with his time penalty, but he's certainly on for a podium at the moment. John Boy, though, is going to make Morgan's life a nightmare as that gap is coming down ever so gradually. But we're running out of time here. But he's all over the back of him. He's going to look to make a move into the section by the Ferris wheel. Can't get that one done. Good defending from Morgan. Now, just a chicane really to go. You need to get the good run out of the chicane. Then it's a big long slipstream. G has passed Melted Dazzler for the final podium spot. So what a drive from the only G. But I think here Morgan's going to have this one done at the moment. It doesn't look like John Boy got the run he needed. And it's going to be a first win tonight for Motoring Morgan in this one. Sprint race at Sakito International. Motoring Morgan is going to take the race win from John Boy. It was that close at the end. G is going to hang on. No, G didn't hang on for P3. Must have had too many time penalties against his name. Melted Dazzler will get. Oh, he's gone to 5th.
Yeah.
So G must have had a handful of time penalties there. Luty McShooter across the line P6 with Disco Stu 7th. Emo Guy in 8th. Shoulders, who once led this race, P9. How it went from bad to worse for him. Andy, first lap collision, and it never got going from there. P10. Unorthodox will cross the line P11. We'll never know what happened to him. There is Unorthodox just sliding across the line. Here comes Laney then to take P12. Bod is going to get P13. Charlie Goff will finish us off here with a P14, and we lost Maze Gamer in this one.
Yes, indeed. A fun-packed race, action-packed. We're going to do it all again in a minute. Qualifying and the feature race still to come. But Motoring Morgan takes the first race of the evening. And as I said, he was and he only did it by just the smallest margin, quarter of a second. So it's that tight. Only G with his time penalties. 6 seconds of time penalties, ended up in 5th. Which is a shame because he did put in a good effort to put it back into 3rd place from where he was. Who else? Luty Pashuti ended up 6th. Disco Racer Stew 7th. Emo Guy 8th. 9th Shoulders on Orthodox in 10th. Yeah,
he got Andy. Andy had 11 seconds to his name. Draw breath indeed. Andy had 11 seconds to his name, so Orthodox finished ahead of him. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back, like Kelly said, with the qualifying and the feature race. So make sure you don't go anywhere. Hit like and subscribe if you are enjoying what you are seeing. But make sure you grab a cup of coffee, have a quick toilet break, and we'll be right back in a couple of moments for the feature race.
Oh, dear. Well, that was alright, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was good, that.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. I'm going to go and take a toilet break because my missus has been feeding me cups of tea all evening.
No worries, buddy.
I think I drank more tea than I drove Clio. I'll be back in a sec.
No worries, mate.
Right, I'm back.
No worries.
Cool. I didn't even look at the comments on YouTube. It's so difficult to multitask. No.
Tomorrow night, do you want to fill in for him? What happened to you?
Get it right. Everyone else is just so much faster. I was slowest in practice, near enough.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, Long Beach will be my circuit. You watch.
Yeah.
Unplug it.
Just stressful that was. I had a fight with Andy at the end, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wow. It's just not my circuit. I'm not looking forward to the feature race.
Well, just keep your head down. You just can't hustle the car along, can you? You just can't hustle it. You have to be patient.
I learned the lines now, so hopefully this time will be a bit better.
You'll get there, Dan. Don't you worry about it.
It's not my circuit. I just hate it. So I'm gonna go back in the game chat. So I'll catch
Yeah,
you
no
later.
worries, mate. See you in a bit.
Right on. See you in a bit.
Was it hot? It just something went pop, yeah. We noticed 6-second time penalty.
What were you playing at?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had good pace towards the end. Typical Virgin.
Can't win them all, mate. Don't call him that, Matt. You don't know he's a virgin.
Let us know when we're live, Jake. Yeah, I saw it. By the time it came on, it lagged and you missed a couple of drivers.
Oh, what's the weather conditions? Foggy.
Welcome back then, and it does look a bit foggy here. You're right, Kelly.
Certainly
Indeed,
does.
we are back at Sakita International for a 15-minute qualifying session. Looks a bit misty then, as the evening rolls in, and the evening dew here at Suzuka really could play havoc with these cars. If you thought they were slidey in race 1 or in the tier 2 race earlier, they may, as you see Charlie Goff there, be a little worse now.
Yeah, Charlie doing some spectacular bit of sliding there on his cold tyres in these foggy conditions. It's going to be even worse out there on these tyres. There's someone else in the background. I couldn't see who that was. Couldn't understand who that was. Went off the track. And then Motoring Morgan goes round. Of course, all these guys have just raced at full speed. They've just gone back out on fresh tyres, but they're cold, ice cold. So they're going to warm these tyres up again before they can put some sensible laps in.
They really have, and it's not going to be easy with these conditions that we've got now. As Kelly said, race one, it's like driving slick tyres on a wintry, frozen track, and even that didn't seem to work. It's going to be like that, but a bit worse here because the temp is going to be so low as well with the fog around. The tyre temperatures, it could take 2 or 3 laps for the tyres to get fully warm and up to temperature before we see any real pace from these guys in the Clios. Just depends on how their, I suppose, heating of the tyres goes in these early phases.
I don't think with my experience in Tier 2, I don't believe that that you warm the tyres in 1 lap. It's going to probably take a couple of laps before we start to see times really tumble. But they'll probably go and prove me wrong now and throw in a 109 or something. I don't know. So I've been proved wrong in the past many times. It's got really foggy in the virtual world, but that's the joy of the virtual world, isn't it? Because anything can happen in a heartbeat, and it certainly does. You see John Boy doing his Tokyo Drift bit round the tight double right-handers before the chicane. I'll do a on-board lap shortly once we kind of get up to speed and these guys have warmed up their tyres and whatever. Of course, we're on the international version of the Suzuka track. It's not named Suzuka on Project Cars. I don't know if that's for copyright reasons. There's a few well-known tracks on Project Cars which haven't got their real names. Monaco being another one of those. For whatever reason, and I don't know if it's a
I think it must be a licensing agreement.
It's got to be, isn't it? Yeah,
like they've got the license to use the circuit, but they've not got naming rights for it, sort of things. I know a few games I've played in the past where certain things they've got certain things that are bob on, but the name of itself isn't right because of licensing agreements. It's just all money that's at the forefront, and just getting the deal over the line with obviously that certain track or that certain partner to get that on the game. Obviously Suzuka as we know it for Formula 1, but Sakito, if I've pronounced that right, Sakito for the Project Cars 2 lovers.
Yep, and as we said, we're on the international version of this, which is basically a couple of bits of Suzuka backwards and a couple of bits thrown in for good measure.
One thing I'm noticing, Kelly, sorry to just cut you off, the sun is starting to break through and the fog has lifted. Early doors here, 5 minutes of qualifying gone, and the sun is just starting to break through, look. Just amazing. See that the fog's lifted.
You're quite right, it is getting clearer, which is great for us on commentary. I was listening to you on Sunday night for the touring cars as I was taking part in that, and it was black, wasn't it? Just like Bruno was absolutely black. There was fog. You couldn't see the lights. You couldn't see anything. It was,
and we've had that before. I think that's a bit of a glitch in the game where I commentated on a touring car race last season, and it was as if, who was I on board? I think Gary and Andy was having a battle at the front of the pack, and it was as if they was coming down the Dunlop straight at the back, and it was as if Donington had just had a power cut, because all of a sudden they come out of Coppice down onto the Dunlop straight, and all of a sudden it just went black, and it was like, oh, okay. Bit strange, but that's the virtual world and the virtual racing that we all know and love at the moment. This man Laney currently on pole by 15 thousandths of a second from John Boy. John Boy tonight, I tell you what, looks like he's got some tremendous pace.
Yes, indeed. I expect the times to tumble a little bit further than this, though. The majority, first to seventh, all in the 1 minute 10s. I didn't get anywhere near that in practice or the race. As I said earlier, I was doing 114s was my best, and I'm feeling quite happy with myself in the 114s. But these guys, you can see, are on a different level. The 110s will be in the 19s, the 109s in a minute. no doubt. These top three, less than a tenth between the three of them. And it never ceases to amaze me in all types of motorsport.
We say that as G's just gone quicker, and he's gone 3/10 quicker than Laney now. So it was less than a tenth between the top three, and he's now 3/10 between the top two. I was just about to say that the top 11 was separated by 9/10 of a second. I now can't say that because it's 1.2 is the gap since G's decided to just absolutely annihilate a time as Laney gets into the 109s, and he's only a tenth off the back of G now.
Good lap indeed. Who can we? A couple of quick circuit facts, because I know people like the circuit facts. Dan had a go at it earlier, but he's just a bit boy, isn't he?
It wasn't great.
It wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination. What I will tell you about Suzuka circuit is that the grandstands are all earthquake protected. Yeah, they're all designed to be safe and been, I don't know what you would call it, registered earthquake safe at Suzuka. Okay, so there's an interesting fact for you.
So that is quite an interesting one. Another interesting fact for you guys is that come the race, they cannot pit until lap 12. The pit window will open lap 12. Not as much a fact as a...
As a fact?
As a fact of the way the race is going to go, not the fact of what Kelly can provide for you. Yeah, Dan had a go at your toilet fact earlier. I asked the question on the stream of how many toilets are there at Suzuka and for what, male or female, obviously based off your one the other week at in Texas, I believe he was in. He couldn't answer it for me, and I was quite disappointed.
No, I think the whole fact thing that those guys were chatting about all just ended up in the toilet, to be fair.
Yeah, it did, to be fair. It was flushed away. And we'll forget about that one as quick as they started the conversation because it wasn't the best. You want a man with facts, listen to commentary with Kelly on a Tuesday night or a Monday night here at Motive Racing because he's a man who loves his facts about the different circuits. Any other ones?
Mate, most of this just gets made up on the spot.
So the bit about Matt Neal earlier was made up, yeah? Yeah, brilliant.
No, everyone knows Matt Neal. Everyone knows Matt Neal's dirty. They all know that, So, but let's not start with Matt Neal and Hondas and lawnmowers and all the rest of it. Great lawnmowers, by the way. Honda make cracking good lawnmowers. Can't fault them. Generators as well. Good on. They make a good generator. Cars, if you like your Happy Meals, then no problem.
I noticed the other day that while people are qualifying, Mark Blundell Motorsport have got to change to the FK8, haven't they, this year? Because the FK5 sort of no longer being ran in the touring cars. I noticed, so they're sort of running the same as the main Honda team and the BTC team.
FK, what SK? What? Sorry, Matt. That was all white noise to me. I don't know what you were on about there.
I was just on about that Mark Blundell Motorsport having to run in the FK8 for this season of the touring cars.
It's FK8? Is that a Honda, is it?
It is a Honda, mate.
Oh, it's right. Okay, yeah, that's kind of where I glazed over there. Just for
and how many VWs are on the grid?
Absolutely none. Considering this is a Renault Clio race, but on the touring car grid, not very many. Volkswagen don't seem to make very good touring cars, or
I don't know. There was good a couple of years back, weren't they, when BMR first sort of produced bought them.
They had a couple of Passats which were okay, weren't they? They were all right in the right. Turkington had one, Plato had the other. Jack Goff had one, did he? Something
Jack
like that.
Goss had one not long ago, and I just think it got outdated a bit with the other cars that were coming on the grid, and I think that's why they've gone.
They weren't great. The one that I do particularly like was the Seat Leon, which was basically a Mark V Golf anyway, and happens to be my car of choice because I have one in the garage. But there you go.
I've got to eat my words here because Monkey Boys just comment on the stream saying that NBA are using the Focus this year. I got told the other day they was using the FK8, but shows how much my
sources, Matt.
I will have a word with my sources. Don't you worry about that one. I think Monkey Boy, we need to have a chat with Kieran Argent about that one because he's the one who told me. And apparently they're using the Focus. Pure Motorsport MA, which is Maze Gamer, sat in the pits at the moment, not yet done a time. The game isn't letting me out to do a qualifying lap. He's left the server and rejoined, but it's still not letting him leave the... Go on to Maze. If you try pressing on the options and then going back, see if that one works. I know that glitch has worked a few times. If you are listening, just press on options and then press circle straight away and see if it'll let you drive out. I know that's done it before for me, and it's always worked when that's done it. So if you can maybe give that one a try, see if you can get out late on. Hopefully we can get him out there for the race. It would be a shame to lose a driver so early on in the feature race. But we're on board with DeHuis Rocker here.
Yeah, what I'm trying to do, Matt, is pick up someone towards the beginning of the lap, so we can go on board. Where are we?
Just coming here. Halfway through the track here. They're coming to the double right-hander. I think Morgan was coming to the end of his lap. There we go. I'll let you take us through a lap with motoring Morgan.
Let's try motoring Morgan as we come over to start-finish straight. This is backwards from one... thanks, Morgan. Appreciate that. Dude. Who have we got here? DeHuis Rocker is here. He's coming here towards the end of the lap, so he's going to start another one as we come across start-finish straight. This is the back end of 130R. This is the long, straight Formula 1s, a flat scat through here. This is Spoon in reverse that he's coming up to. Brake as late as you dare, right about there. Let the back end just freely go where it wants to, because it will. As you come to the exit of the corner, don't touch that curb. Don't touch that curb there, all clumsy.
Just use all of it.
Yeah, accelerate hard as you come down the hill. This is the guys, or through the dip. Then you would come down the hill. This is still the reverse of the GP circuit. This is the bit the guys have nicknamed the roller coaster. As you can see, whoever's in front going a bit sideways, that is a tricky bit of track, but it does reward you. Now, really tricky here. You want to brake just as you're turning the corner, which will kick the back end round and will send you into a spin. So you've got to be patient on the brakes. Double right-hander, quite slow. Run it out wide. Lovely chicane. Take loads on this side, close to the tyres, close as you dare. Try not to run wide. You can spin out there, and lots of people have. And you're back round the last corner, little bit challenging if you're not paying attention, and you're back round for another lap.
That roller coaster bit was definitely frightening, seeing G nearly lose it coming down that bit. You will not want to be near a car close on there. Mace Game is saying that he's tried that and it's still not working. Hopefully he can get out for the race. I hope so, because we'd hate to lose a car due to the game not allowing him to come out the pits for a qualifying lap.
So here we go again. We're on board with G. Coming, as I say, this dip here. This is where the Formula 1 cars would be coming at you. This is where they would be. Basically, their GP hairpin is there, and this goes off in a completely different direction. Bit smoother from G there. Hugs the apex as he comes down through. And as I say, this bit here really tricky. This is where I ended up in trouble right there in that barrier. G's, yeah, I thought he was going to go wide, but he's right out to the line, just where he should be. Right out to the line again. Try not to pick up any penalties. Hug that chicane as you go through there. That's scary,
really,
that bit.
Yeah, really close to the wall there from G.
Absolutely, and that's where you need to be, isn't it, Matt? If you want every inch and every second, they all matter.
The closer you get, the better the run you're going to get out of it. But obviously, it's how brave are you to get close to that tyre wall without it? Because again, the game doesn't seem to register the tyre walls. You'll just bounce off of that, and the tyre wall won't be affected by it, as if it's made of solid steel. But G there, very, very close, and almost kissing it, if you like. Here's Laney, just a tenth off him. Looking at the order, top 11, separated by 0.8 of a second. That is how close this grid is.
Yeah, it's very tight with these. Very tight with these boys. I'm hoping we have a race like we had last week, and no doubt everyone will be giving it 110%. And we will get that race.
Laney's backed out his lap. He's going to come into the pits. John Boy still on lap. Charlie Gosh has commented saying, predictions for the touring cars this year, boys. I'll let you start, Kelly. Sutton?
Ash Sutton. I'm really waiting for the day that Tom Ingram has a championship. I think he deserves one.
I think it's this year.
Yeah, I would like to see, if I would like somebody to win, then Tom Ingram. It's about time that Tom put a championship together. Tom Ingram I would like. I like Sutton's style. He's quick. Who else we got? Who else is quick up there? Turkington. Don't discount Turkington. Plato's back this year, is he not?
He is.
Yeah, that would be somebody to be at the back then, wouldn't it? So with Matt.
Matt's not confirmed yet.
Has he not?
Avid rumours last
retiring?
season. Well, I saw a tweet yesterday morning that he'd gone for his MSA medical or something. So I think he might be signing for another year, but we'll have to wait and see. One I'm going to chuck out there is Rory Butcher. Was in the motorbase. Not heard where he's going to be this year, but he's one that I feel could challenge for a title. As we see at the moment, the only G takes pole position from a 10th from Laney. John Boy P3, 3/10 back with Andy 4th, Disco Stu 5th, Dewis Rocker 6th, Looty McShooty 7th. Top 11 separated by 8/10 of a second, and you see all the drivers with their lights on as they're just going to make final preparations. But it looks a clear evening. Can't see the clouds yet, but there's no mist as we're sitting on the grid.
Absolutely, and we're a standing start for this one, aren't we, Matt?
We are indeed. So standing start, it will be as we go from here.
So as you say, they're just the computer, the PlayStation, just sorting everybody out, and all the guys getting readied up, and
pit strategies, final tweaks to the setup, maybe to load a more of a race setup. Yeah, more of a balanced race setup. Make sure they've got the fuel in instead of going for an all-out qualifying setup. Let's see. Charlie Goff says Jack Goff for a few more wins this year in the new Cupra.
Jack Goff is I'm on that. I met Jack Goff, and he's a lovely guy, lovely guy.
Yeah.
Me and Dan met him at Thruxton. I would like to see more because he has got.
He's
speed.
a man who has never had the right car. For me, never been in the right car.
No,
but will win. And if he got the right car, would win plenty of races, if not a championship.
Yeah, he's a good driver. He needs more, and he's in the Cupra. As I said, I'm a bit of a Cupra fan because, as I said, I got one myself. For the touring car grid, it's nice to see the Seats back in there because they were good touring cars.
Yeah. Sean Lane, a good showing from Phil Laney on the front row of the grid. Indeed it was. Didn't have the best of first races, starting at the back in the reverse grid race, but he's now qualified on the front row. So what can he do against the main man G? We'll have to see, but it's G, Laney, John Boy, Andy, Disco Racing Studer, who is Rocker, Looty McShooty, Unorthodox down in P8, Morgan down in 9th. We've lost Mays Gamer, unfortunately, so we didn't manage to get going. Not what he'd have wanted. Shoulders, Melted, Dazuimo Guy, Bod, and Champ as we are green here.
Away.
Then at Suzuka, 36 laps at Suzuka International. Good start from G. Laney just looked like he got a bit bogged down on the line. John Boy got an absolute cracking start, but he's already been boxed in by G and Laney. Laney could be up the inside of G as they head to turn 1. He's going to be up the inside of G as they head into turn 1. G's going to have to go wide, and he's sending John Boy even wider. But look at John Boy, he's hung it round the outside and has absolutely done bits here because he's still side by side with G. In fact, he's in front of G at the exit.
Yeah. Nice move, John Boy. Absolute beauty as he went all the way round the outside of G to take that place. Nice clean start from everyone. I didn't see anybody going off track, but it's early days yet. Whoever that was.
Dewis Rocker.
Going backwards? Oh, Dewis Rocker.
Laney's going backwards. Who's that? That's Disco Stu. And it looks like Looty McShooty maybe just having a bit of a come together there. Charlie Goff says, I'm Jack Goff's cousin. We had a good year in the Honda, but that was our best. The game's just bugged. What a shame for Mays Gamer. He's just said, yeah, indeed, Mays. Shame we couldn't get out there for the 15-car race. This could be an absolute cracker. Look at this midfield pack. You can't separate them. G, though, out front after a great start from John Boy. John Boy, leads from G. Andy's 3rd. Laney's dropped down to 4th, so not the best opening lap from Laney. And Unorthodox, he said in the mid-break pit stop, if you like, the mid-break interval, he didn't have the best of first races and wasn't quite comfortable with this track, but he's currently running P5, so we'll have to see what Unorthodox can do from there. Emo Guy down in P8. Shoulders already has a time penalty, so does Dewis Rocker. And look at these guys, Emo Guy and Shoulders side by side. There's Charlie Goff, as we just found out, cousin to Jack Goff. What can he do?
Is he actually?
That's what he said in the comments.
Oh wow, that's cool, isn't it?
He said, I'm his cousin, haha, we had a good year in the Honda and that was our best year.
It was their best year. It was in the Honda, actually, yeah. So, as I said, if he ever got a decent car, he'd be all right, wouldn't he?
Yeah. I've always rated Jack Goff, to be fair, since his MG day with Andrew Jordan when he went in the MG that year. I thought he was a good driver. Morgan, though, not P6. qualified low down and P6 at the moment for Morgan. Won the last race, and I think he'll struggle to keep with John Boy and G. Look at these guys at the minute. Andy's trying to stick with him. John Boy, we said earlier in qualifying that he had pace around this track, and I think him and G could run away with this race at the moment. It's a 2-horse race. Andy trying to stick with these guys while he's in their slipstream. He will be able to stick with them. G though has pulled out to the outside, and we saw John Boy lap 1. The outside
he's going to be on the
work.
outside for this turn, so it's going to be a game of chicken as G goes right round the outside, showing John Boy that he can do right round the outside as well. But John Boy's going to hold on to it by the looks of it, and he's still there with a watching brief, waiting for these two to crash into each other so he can capitalise on it. Probably the best place to be right about now is right where Andy is, because he's front two are jostling for position as we come down into the roller coaster section, and out again the other side. You can see him coming up towards us. G right there with him, right on his bumper as they come into the double right-hander.
And what you didn't see from G around the outside was you didn't see him put too much pressure on him, because there's still 33 laps to go in this race. He doesn't need to make them silly moves around the outside just yet. Look at the 3 though they've gone. 3 seconds back to Laney. There's a good gaggle of cars from Laney down, all sort of hustling over P4 at the moment, really.
Yes, indeed. As you say, from kind of Laney back, let's move towards the back of that, where Disco Stew, Lucy McShooty, he's the one that's at the back of this pack of cars at the moment, which are all in very, very close company. Did I see someone going wide?
Yeah, I think Emo Guy tapped what looked to be Morgan, or maybe he tapped Dan, because I saw Emo Guy a bit, like I've said all night, he's been a bit sideways coming through turn 1, and I'm not sure if he caught the back of Dan or Morgan there. I just saw one of the green cars sort of losing the rear. They've managed to hold on. One thing I did notice though is Morgan's got a time penalty early doors. That is not going to help him come the end of this race. Long race to go as well. You sort of get one time penalty and you find yourself getting more and more. That's obviously what G felt in race 1, 6 seconds. Is that how you felt earlier on as well? You get one time penalty, you just feel like you're getting more and more as the race goes on?
Well, you try to, certainly I do. I try to feather out of the next corner and try and get the slowdown to go in the next corner. But then if it doesn't go, you then accelerate down the next straight, and you think to yourself, right, I'm just going to take the penalty.
And this is the stupid thing about it.
Sorry?
This is the stupid thing about it is, you feel like you've gave the time back that you gained, but the game doesn't register that. No, so then you actually end up, if you fully was to take the slowdown, you actually lose more time than you actually gained by cutting the part of the track anyway.
Absolutely, you're exactly right. I mean, it is important on this track to stay within the limits, because it is the fastest way round. I know that sounds daft, but exactly what Matt said. It seems you give the time back. You know, what you gained, the tenth that you gained, you end up giving like a second back.
Yeah.
You know, and it's one of the downfalls of this game. You know, we love this game. It's been very popular with many sim drivers.
John Boy's third. Yeah, John Boy's third and was very slow, as if he had a slowdown. He's there now on this gaggle of cars, just ahead of Laney, who's P4, and Andy and G have sort of drove off in the distance from him.
Yeah, we didn't see what happened there. Regular viewers, you know, we haven't got no fancy studio here and all the rest of it. We can only work within the parameters of the software, and we don't get to see everything that happens. We have to randomly pick up people and hope that the action's going to happen there. As I go back to what is probably the biggest battle on track, which is all these guys from 4th down to about 9th or 10th. Daniel's gone backwards, and Orthodubs has gone backwards. He was in 5th, and he's 7th, 8th, something like that. But as you can see, they're all in close company, aren't they?
Well, I noticed Shoulders have got past Morgan and Unorthodubs, and the Shoulders ran wide and Morgan got back in front. Emo Guy was then trying to pass on Orthodubs. He's now got to Whois Rocker side by side as they come down to the roller coaster part. And I just caught a clip of the Whois Rocker rolling down the roller coaster. Well, has him and Emo Guy, who were side by side, come together there? And if so, do his Rockers come off worse?
Yeah, where is Emo Guy? He went backwards as well, so they could have had a coming together there. That's what happened. Bits of car all over the place, and De Huis Rocker was respectful and didn't go straight back on track and get in anybody else's way. That's the proper way of doing it.
It is. Who's that with a slowdown? That's Laney, who's just going backwards again, down to P7 now, as he's got another slowdown. He's already got a time penalty, and looks like, I can't imagine he's got a problem, but he does look to have had a slowdown penalty. Andy, though, pressuring G for the race lead at the moment. That gap's 0.3 of a second as they start lap 7. Don't forget, they cannot pit until lap 10. John Boy's kind of pulled away from that gaggle of cars now, which was led by Laney. He's got 3 seconds to motoring Morgan.
Yeah, don't count motoring Morgan out. We know how quick he is, and we've still got a long way to go in this race and a pit stop to do. So it's still anybody's game at this time. But John Boy wants to get his head down a little bit and try and get himself back on to Andy and G. These two good friends off track. Let's see how respectful they're going to be on track.
Yeah, obviously the co-owners and admins of Motive. Yeah, Motive Racing. I thought I'd said that wrong.
That's the one.
Yeah, Motive Racing.
Yeah.
Good friends, co-owners, and also admins here at Motive Racing, and they know how to battle each other on track. That is for sure. One thing I can guarantee on in this race is Andy will more than likely go near enough to the end of this race before he makes his pit stop. It's kind of Andy's pit strategy, if you like. I've seen him do it so many times, and every time I've seen him do it, he's come out in front of G. And it's been absolutely brilliant to watch over the 3. I've commentated here now for this is my 3rd season, and it's been all the time Andy has sort of done that strategy, came out in front of G.
Okay, I bow down to your superior knowledge on this, and I look forward to seeing that and see how that pans out.
Hopefully that is the case. Hopefully he doesn't let me down now and pits early doors and kind of buggers all that one up. He has picked up a time penalty though, so he's got to really be careful now with the track limits. He's now over a second behind the only G. In fact, that time has just gone up quite considerably from what was under a second to now well over a second. So I wonder if he's had another slowdown since then as well. But Andy not wanting to rack up the time penalties here. Here's Morgan and Dan though on Orthodubs, P4 and 5 at the moment. Morgan not definitely dropping Dan. To say Dan said in the break interval that he doesn't like this track. Morgan's not really dropping Dan to say that Morgan's one of the front runners in this Tier 1 series. Dan really doing his best to keep with him, and keeping with him he is. Daniel
will keep pushing, and he won't give up. I think he said the same about me as I was running round in last and lapped. But he won't give this up, and Daniel will find his way. And he's a quick lad. I've said it before.
Yeah.
Since he was about 6 or 7 years old, and he got Crash Team Racing. From then on in, he's been a sniff in front of me. In the last few years, he's way in front of me on these games. But he's determined, is our Dan, and
he's having a good go here.
He certainly is. Keep it all together, Dan. Don't do anything stupid. A bit of fatherly advice there. Not that he'll listen to me these days. But all so close as he gets a little bit squirrely on that double right-hander. But Morgan's got a mirror full of him.
Oh, there's John Boy. They've really caught John Boy. John Boy had another slowdown because he's really on the back now. Andy's dropped off the back of G. 2.5 seconds that gap now. So I wonder if John Boy and Andy just struggling with a few slowdowns. But on Orthodubs, while you were saying that, he's really giving it a good go. He's really having a fight with Morgan and really trying to put the current Tier 1 champion under some pressure.
So the Tier 2 runner-up is chasing the Tier 1 champion, yes?
He is, that is correct. Albeit for fourth place. But nonetheless, the Tier 2 runner-up is challenging the Tier 1 champion. Not many people thought you'd have said that this season. I'm sure they'd have all thought they'd have been down the order a bit. But no, he's giving it a damn good go. As Morgan, he's actually been unlucky here. Because John Boy's had a slowdown, Morgan's now been able to get the toe off of John Boy, and it's really going to help Morgan out. Morgan obviously a very quick guy himself, and now I'm not saying that he can't pull away from Dan without the slipstream, but these Clios are quite reliant on the slipstream to overtake the car in front, to gain on the car in front so quickly. They are so reliant, and you can see that last lap Dan was all over the back of Morgan with no slipstream and was no problem putting him under pressure. Now Morgan's got the slipstream from John Boy. Dan's not put him under the same amount of pressure as he did last time around, and that's just how these Clios work on Project Cars 2. The slipstream so effective, even if it doesn't seem it it really does help you sort of get off the back of being attacked and you being then the attacker as they come up the straight. That's Andy just in front as well, so he's really dropped off the back of G, although they have just started to catch the leaders.
Well, yeah, you say that these guys seem to have caught up a little bit, because Andy's still only a second and a half off the back of G, and that's kind of consistent for the last couple of laps. But John Boy was 4 seconds behind the only G, but they have dragged themselves up behind the leaders again, behind Andy and the only G. Andy's now got a penalty, I think, where John Boy's the only one in the top. That and John Boy and the
John
only
Boy
G are the only
yeah.
ones in the top 6.
Oh, here comes John Boy.
Penalties.
Having a look up the inside of Andy, but that was just a look, and that was all it was. He didn't get the job done. Sorry, Kelly.
That's all right. But this is turning into quite a battle where third, fourth, fifth.
Oh, John Boy, I think he's got another slowdown. He gave Motoring Morgan the flash there to go through, and he's turned the lights back on, so another slowdown for John Boy maybe there, but this has now allowed Dan to have a real good slipstream and a real good run out the chicane as they head down towards turn 1. Can Unorthodox have a look at Morgan? Morgan goes across early to defend his line, but Dan looks like he's going to try and squeeze up the inside. No, decides to go outside line here. Long corner of Spoon. What can Unorthodox do? He's going to try and go right around the outside, tucks it back up behind Motoring Morgan, though, as he can't get the job done around the outside. He said in the qualifying not to touch that curb. Dan's just gone all over it.
Over it, yeah, all over it, and he took quite a lot of it as well. I'm surprised he didn't get slowed down. He took quite so much. Oh, look, there we go.
Yeah,
there we go.
Oh, what a shame.
Back off the pace.
Yeah, he definitely
I think he just took a lot of that curb, so he's going to have to do all that hard work again to drag himself back up behind Motoring Morgan, who's now not far off Andy.
No, and Andy,
who's not far off G.
Yeah, back on the tail of G, up by 0.7 of a second. As G had a few slowdowns that he's been able to take, obviously being so far in front, has he been able to take them and remove the slowdown from his screen. One man who's not had the best nights in terms of his championship, Looty McShooty, P9 at the moment, not the night he'd have wanted in terms of his championship, to keep him with the front runners. He's really going to lose out on points here. Morgan currently down in third behind Andy. He sees his title challenger 1.7 seconds up the road. What can he do to close that gap? Can Dan and John Boy get back on the back? Disco Stu, the first man in the pits, as we are on lap 13 of 36. The pit window is now open, so Disco Stu, the first man in the pits, and the Whois Rocker follows him in as well.
Yes, indeed, as they come into the pits for their mandatory pit stop. They don't have to do anything. They just have to take their pit stop, basically. So they don't have to refuel, and they don't have to change tyres or anything. If they don't want to, they can. But really, all they have to do is stop in their pit box.
Stop, thumbs up to the lollipop man. You all right, bud? And then on your way. Yeah.
Project Cars 2 mechanics, the worst in the world. If you notice, they try to undo 5 oil bolts instead of 1. But they usually stand around doing very, very little.
They also can't work at the same time neither. Not like the F1 where it's all go and they're all. Back in the day, it was fuel, tyres, everything happening in one go. This is fuel, then tyres, and then we'll sit and repair damage for ages, even though no one's actually doing anything. We just stood looking at the car. The lollipop man will let you go, but you'll still be sat there because your damage isn't done.
Sorry, and Andy, G and Andy, Motoring Morgan, it's right. Andy got round G, and then G hit the back of Andy, and Motoring Morgan's in there as well. So it's all changed at the front. Andy got out of that with the least amount of penalty, really, because these two are now scrapping for that second place.
Now, what has happened to G? Because he was 2 seconds up the road from Andy at one stage after Andy's time penalties and slowdown penalties. G's now second place. He must have been just pushing too hard. He must have had several slowdowns or made a couple of mistakes here or there, Kelly, because he was well in front at one stage and you thought that would be the job done, but he's now got Morgan right up his boot, really wanting to hassle him for this championship lead, because Morgan has outscored him in race 1. Can he outscore him in race 2? That'll be the big question here. But they're also taking Unorthodox, and John Boy's trying to hang in there as well. Could be 5 for the lead. We've had Shoulders in the pit since then as well. So the top 11 still to pit then at the moment. And when do these guys call it? Who calls it first as well? Who decides to go, I'm going to be the first one to make the pit stop. I'm going to duck into the pits now and try and get the undercut.
Yes, indeed, and pit strategy is going to be important. Not a particularly long pit lane here this time, which is nice. So not too long left in the pits. So as Bod comes into the pits, so I see the camera angle isn't great for the pits. It's like it's that Ted Kravitz position, isn't it? Standing on top of the pit garage.
Yeah. Standing on the roof, instead of putting the camera over the edge, we'll just look at the nice metal roof that they've got here at the temporary pit lane. Because
Project Cars 2 cameramen are from the same school of thought as the mechanics, really.
There was a cameraman the other day at Bruno for the touring cars. Jamie Brazier, Big Boy Brazier, had a crash at turn 3. And then for the rest of the second race in the touring cars, the cameraman just wanted to pick up that. Except Jamie Brazier had disconnected from the session. But the cameraman was still focused on the spot where he'd crashed, not picking up the guy. So you had to... They'd come through turn 3, and then he'd sort of pan to that where Jamie Brazier crashed. And then they'd come through turn 4, and they'd be halfway down the hill going towards the bottom of the circuit, and the cameraman at the bottom of the circuit had then picked them up, and it was like, oh, brilliant. Good stuff, cameraman. Well done.
Yeah. The joys of the virtual world.
Oh, brilliant.
And you can't tell them. They won't listen to you.
No, they don't listen to you.
No.
They don't listen to you.
G is right on the back of Andy again as we're chit-chatting cameramen. As you can see, G's hassling the back of Andy again. Poor old G does have to do a bit of multitasking at times. He's a talented young driver.
He's got to slow down. He's got to slow down.
He has.
Morgan's passed him.
Yep. And Dan's, not past him, but right up behind him.
Yeah, so's John Boy as well. Look at that. 3 now for third place. Gee, just pushing a bit too hard. Maybe. Oh, has he got another slowdown? Oh, and I think that's caught Unorthodox out there. As I think, with what we saw in race 1, John Boy's had a bit of a moment, so I'm not sure what has happened there. Did John Boy give the position back? I'm not quite sure. Still flashing his lights. I don't know what's quite happening here. I think John Boy's going in the pits. I think G got 2 slowdowns there because he seemed to pull out the way again. Unorthodox caught the back of G like we saw G to Unorthodox in race 1. Looked like, obviously you can't communicate with each other as much when you're in the separate cars. If they're not in the same PS4 party as each other, they can't communicate to say, look, slow down, mate, I'm just pulling to one side. But yeah, what a shame, because that was turning into a good battle. But John Boy and Charlie Goff in the pits now, so the top 8 yet to pit. We'll see where John Boy comes out. He's already out the pits, so he comes out P9. We'll see what he can do now. He's going to go longer than the other drivers. What can he do? But for the lead at the moment, it's Andy and motoring Morgan. G's not got a time penalty in this race, and that's what cost him race 1, where he lost 2 places because of his time penalties. Morgan's tried to go around the outside of Andy at the double right-hander, and he's going to do well there. Andy took a bit more of that right-hander than normal. That might have been a slowdown. We'll have to see if it is or not. Doesn't look like he's taking it. I think he was just being respectful, to be fair, Matt. I think he was just being respectful and giving racing room, to be fair. Let Morgan go all the way around the outside, but tucked it in nice and tight to be respectful as Morgan's giving a flash of lights to Andy. Andy pits early, like you said he wouldn't. And he's had a bit. He's missed his pit box. He's missed his pit box. His pit box. Look how close that is to the entrance of the pit lane. There's no wonder he's missed his pit box.
He missed it.
But I said Andy normally goes long, and he's gone in very, very early here. Unorthodox trying to stick with the only G at the moment. There's Laney. He's dropped down to P4 at the moment. Obviously, pit stops helping him out. Where will Andy come out in relation to John Boy? Has John Boy going that extra lap done him any favours? Well, with Andy messing his pit box up, that could have helped John Boy out a bit more, but no, Andy's out and up the road from John Boy already. Unorthodox, though, within half a second of the only G. Can this man gain on him?
Yes, indeed. And we'll just clear up the why I'm expecting these guys to pit very shortly, but why we're in a bit of a spaced out time right now. Let's just recap Daniel's fact as Andy put him straight and said, it's not a quiz show, it's a sim racing show. Not that Andy speaks like that, but let's just clear up Daniel's fun fact about me, actually. He's only doing it because I did it to him the other week. He asked, was I a champion being a rugby part of the rugby sevens? No, I wasn't. No, don't do rugby. Although I'm a Cornishman, we don't do. I don't play rugby or follow it. To be fair, was it a BMX race team? Yes, that was the answer. I had a BMX race team which were 3 times champions, which were a great bunch of kids. I can't remember what the other fact he said. What was the other one? What was the other one he said?
It was to do with racing, but I can't actually remember what it was now. It was to do with racing.
No.
I guess the second one, and I obviously guessed right.
You were quite right. I mean, me and Daniel have made some references about BMX racing before. So for those who tune in regularly, it wouldn't be too hard to work out. But I have got another one about Daniel. Daniel, he had to give up another sport to do BMX racing because
I know this.
Time restraints. We couldn't do it all.
Yeah.
So before that, was Daniel a first Q brown belt in karate? Yeah. Was he a? Did he do archery? And did quite well in archery. As Laney comes into the pits, or was he the Cornish Tiddlywink champion?
Oh no, I don't know this then.
Yeah, so answers on the comments on YouTube if you want to answer, and I'll tell you before the end which sport Daniel had to give up for BMX racing.
Like last week when we said Cornish pasty eating champion.
Yeah.
And I said, please let it be that one. I so want it to be the Tiddlywink one.
Well, yeah.
Like Daniel, just the professional Tiddlywink player.
Champion. Can you imagine it? He's got some thumb.
Tiddlywink, Cornish pasty eating, Tier 2 runner-up, LMP2 champion. Woo! I think we said last week that's a CV for Mercedes, but now you've got to add the Tiddlywinks on there.
Well, there you go. Then now we've added the Tiddlywinks. That's got to be 45 million, hasn't it? Is that G coming into the pits? Yes,
G is in the pits. Yeah,
comes into the pits. I'll flick to the pit camera, but it's completely useless because it's in the car park. So leading this race at the moment is Unorthodox. Keep it all together, Dan. Pay attention. Where the battles, the actual battles, there's a close three towards the back of the grid. Emo guy back there, which isn't a normal place for him, and Dahuis Rocker is also back there, and he's normally got more pace than that.
Yeah.
And dear old Bod is bringing up the rear at the moment, but there's a four-way battle here with these guys, just for the final places.
Strange showing from Emo Guy tonight, because we've not seen his true potential. We know how quick Emo Guy can be, but we've not really seen his true pace tonight. Like many a driver, this track may not suit the way he drives and may not suit his style of driving, and that's what's not helping him out tonight. But him and Dahuis Rock are very quick guys, and it's strange to see them battling for 12th and 13th.
Yeah. We're on board with Charlie Goff, or we're watching Charlie Goff at the moment, which is my great fact of the evening. That he's what did he say? He was cousins with
Jack Goff. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. You can get some tickets, Charlie. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
One for me, one for Kevin.
Yeah. Where do you want to go, Matt?
Wait, what takes your fancy? I mean, as we see G round the outside of Motoring Morgan down towards the start-finish line. I don't think we've seen Morgan in the pits yet, have we? He must have pitted.
Daniel's just come into the pits on Orthodox.
Daniel's just come out the pits, so he's jumped G, but look at well, I say he jumped G. The difference in pace because of how long that straight is meant that he hasn't jumped G. These two still right side by he's still right there, but these two still side by side. Morgan just running G out of room, and Dan decides, that line looks nice, I'll do that one on my own.
So these guys all still very close. Where's Andy in all this? He's a little bit back from them.
He's actually lost more ground to these guys, Morgan, G, and
I think he should have picked late, to be fair.
As
Andy has a bit of a moment.
Strange moment, very strange moment for Andy. He's allowing John Boy to get on the back of him. G and Morgan still battling. Melted Dazzler and Luty McShooty. We do believe the only two guys to not yet pit, as we're on lap 22 of 36. And I tell you what, interesting battles happening at the moment. John Boy gaining on Andy, G and Morgan battling with each other, and this is not going to help Dan at all.
Did you see that line?
I did, yeah.
Did you see that line from G? He was
very
so close
tight.
So close. Got such a run off the corner though, for being that close to the tyre wall. And this is the big battle on track. These are championship rivals as well, aren't they?
Big championship rivals. G leading the championship. Morgan trying to close in on him. He did after race one. Can he gain on him even more in this one? As G's going to look around the outside. And I tell you what,
can he make it stick?
It looks like he might do, you know. Morgan coming back at him at the second half of Spoon. They're still going to be side by side. And G, I think, you know, may just have this one done, knowing that the next part of the track's a couple of left-handers.
Yeah. Yeah, Morgan's going to have to come back at him. He's going to have to regroup, get back into his slip, and come back at him. This tricky roller coaster section, and it is tricky for sure. So G just gapped him Morgan a little bit, but I'm sure Morgan will drag that back up in a minute as they come through the double right-handers. So Matt, what do you fancy? Charlie Goff's going to get us tickets. Going to talk to Jack. Get us some tickets. Where do you fancy?
I don't know, mate. You take your pick, buddy. I've not been. I've only ever done Donington or Silverstone. So take your pick, buddy.
Well, I've only ever done Thruxton. Me and Daniel usually go every year.
Apparently, I've done Thruxton, but according to my dad, it's a track I visited. I don't remember it, so I must have been that old. But yeah.
Morgan's going to have another go at G here. Sorry to interrupt you there, Matt. Morgan's going around the outside of G, and he's going to try the outside thing, but only he's quite close enough.
We saw tonight that John Boy did the outside on G lap 1. G's done the outside on Morgan. The outside may be the line to take coming through the reverse Spoon, if you like, as Morgan didn't get that move done in the end.
No, it's certainly a line to try, and I don't know if you can get it all done in one go round Spoon, or if it puts you track position for the next couple of corners, as G has a scruffy run through the roller coaster, which puts Morgan right back on the back of him as they come up to this tricky braking zone and the double right-hander. Morgan's down the inside. That was cheeky, right down the inside.
Yeah,
He's going to make
move.
it stick. Yeah, G lets him go. He's going to regroup and have another go at him.
Oh, look at Andy, John Boy and Unorthodox just behind this battle. A trio between Unorthodox, Andy and John Boy then. John Boy and Unorthodox side by side. And John Boy and Andy have really reeled in Unorthodox here, being able to slipstream each other without Unorthodox having a slipstream has allowed these guys to really get on the back. And now Dan's got to work really hard. He may have to go round the outside of Andy just to hold his position here, because Andy's already got it up the inside. He's not got the pull up the straight to get in front of Unorthodox. Can Unorthodox keep it around the outside? I don't think he can. I think he's already decided to let Andy have that place, and he'll try and fight it on the next part of the track.
Yes, indeed. They regroup as they go again. This is one of the interesting battles on track. I'm going to quickly jump back to G to see what they're doing. Hard to know which one to follow, but as they go through the roller coaster, Morgan on the grass a little bit there as he comes through the roller coaster, and as they come up again, G's looking down. He's going to go around the outside and the tricky braking bit, but Morgan. G goes to the inside again. Tries to do the same move on Morgan.
Slow down.
Slow down. Got to be, innit?
And the worst thing is he's got it just coming through the chicane. Hopefully I think John Boy had one as well. I was going to say it's a good job he wasn't on the back at the start-finish straight with that, because if he had a slow down there, Andy would have been past him, so would have Dan, because of the pace difference. They would have all been right up past G, but Morgan has just been let off a bit there with the fact that G got a slowdown penalty, because G was really hassling him for a moment.
Absolutely.
And now Morgan able to just stretch his legs a bit and regroup and re-get the confidence going. G does not want a time penalty in this race, does he? He's really had a fair few slowdowns in which he's really slowed down to get rid of the warning off his screen. Knowing that drivers around him have got the time penalties, he's really not wanted one himself.
Absolutely, and it's good driving sense, to be fair, and G's probably got confidence in himself to be able to catch it, Morgan back up with a bit of patience. So that would be better than having a time penalty, as Andy goes very wide out of the roller coaster, manages to keep it all together and pushing in the right direction, but that's dragged him away from the back of G and put him under pressure from Unorthodox. Wow, I say under pressure a little bit. They're a little bit closer. So they spaced that again. Let's go back to that touring car thing. As I said, who was that? Someone in the background on slow down? Was that John Boy?
Looks like John Boy again.
Yeah,
John Boy's had so many slowdowns in this second race, where he's been involved in some good battles, and then just slowdowns have really cost him. That could be the sign of frustration and just overdriving the car at times, getting too many slowdowns, and obviously he's wanted to play by the rules of the game and not get the penalties, but it's really cost him in this second race after what was a good first race, finishing second and pulling points back on G. He's now down in P8 and he's really going to lose out on points over G. Top two not yet pitted as we're on lap 27 of 36, and their gap is 18 seconds to Morgan, who is the first car two of, or the leader of the guys who have pitted, should I say.
Yeah.
But Melter does release McShoot is still.
This is the race lead that we're watching.
Yeah, this is net 1 and 2, isn't it, really, at the end of the day? Unless Lutey McShooty pulls out an absolute blinder of a pit stop that only takes him 17 seconds, I can't see a way.
No.
Morgan and G will not be net 1 and 2. In fact, Morgan, G, Andy and Unorthodox won't be a net 1 to 4 when them two have pitted.
Absolutely. I mean, Lutey could probably go as long as he possibly can and hope that these two tangle with each other and give him more space. That would be possibly a strategy to think about. But yeah, this is the net lead, really. So G's chasing back behind Morgan. Andy's still with a watching brief, and down there as well. So these top four guys still reasonably close together. As I pick Andy up, as you can see, Dan just behind him. These top
doing a
four
cracking
still
job.
close.
Dan at the moment in this second race, he was really.
Absolutely.
He sounded disheartened after race one. You know, that by the back in the practice times and struggled race one. Didn't get the best of qualifying race 2, but he's really worked hard in this feature race to really get P6 at the moment. But what we think is a net P4 overall, as G is right on the back of Morgan once again. Yeah, Dan's just drove a very consistent second race.
Can we talk about someone else, Matt, before we go and ruin it for him?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I see on the comments that Charlie Goffer said Thruxton is a good track. It's a cracking good track. I've actually done a lap round Thruxton.
Oh, yeah. What in?
Yeah. What do you reckon? Do I think I've done a lap in a supercar or on a BMX bike?
So it's got to be supercar.
I guess, Matt.
It's got to be supercar.
Got to be. You think so?
Yeah.
Wrong.
You've done it on a BMX
bike.
Nice.
I've done it on a BMX bike. After the touring car, I don't know about the ones that you've been to, but Thruxton opened the gates of an evening and you're free to walk around the track.
Oh, really?
Drive, and use push bikes around the track.
Brilliant.
So I took the BMX. My hot lap was 12 minutes.
Do you know what? If Donington did that on a Saturday night, I'd take my mountain bike with me just to have a ride around the track.
Yeah.
But I don't think they do.
We did it.
No.
Me and Dan walked it the first time.
Wasn't that where they did a walk the other year for Billy Munger? Wasn't it?
Yeah, Billy Munger. Yeah, we were part of that. We did a walk around the track, and it's nice to see. Thruxton is very, very fast. As touring car, those who are into touring cars. G is having another look at Morgan. He tucks back in behind him. He's going to go around the outside again. As they come down, look, G's got to run, but he's going to have to go round the outside again as they come to reverse spoon. And Morgan's still right there. He's not giving him any quarter.
No, he's going to still look up the inside. G's going to really work hard around the outside. Can he make it stick on the second part of Spoon, or is Morgan going to have it? The thing is, G knows if he keeps the car on the outside, it'll have the advantage up the inside, as you see already, and that's the job done. Andy is starting to reel these two in and get involved in this battle. Morgan already looking to come back at G. Can't do it though as they come down towards the roller coaster section of the track, and G just looks like he carries so much speed through that first part that he really pulls away from Morgan, and Andy's all over the back of Morgan. Now, he must have had a bit of a slowdown penalty because he was really closer than that a moment ago. Morgan coming back at G on the brakes into the double right-hander. Lap 30 of 36 when Aluti McShooty and Melter Dazat gonna pit. But Morgan now, as we enter the chicane, look at how tight these guys get to that tyre wall. Andy very close there. As we see indeed. Morgan really wanting to get that place back. He knows more points over them will really help him in his chances going into Brands next week.
Absolutely, and yes, indeed, this fight still isn't over with 5 laps to go. The top two still haven't pitted, so they've got to do that. It's a compulsory pit stop. You've got to do it at some point. So the top two have still got to do their pit stops. So this really is effectively the race for the lead. G's out there, but these guys, they're all close company.
Oh, we've lost
dropped
someone.
down a little bit now.
Not quite sure who we've just lost.
I don't know. Yeah, hard to. Yeah, don't know. We've just lost
shoulders. We've lost shoulders.
Shoulders. Is that who it was? Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, going back to the Thruxton thing. Thruxton, to go out the back of the circuit and see how much curve is actually. It's not. They're flat scat around Thruxton
church and all that.
Yeah, the church is quite a corner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is. You go round there and you think, no way are they doing 130, 140 mile an hour out there.
Yeah.
It's just nuts, absolutely nuts. But Charlie Goff's going to get us tickets. Going to talk to his cousin Jack and get some tickets. Brands GP, I think. Brands GP.
Be a good race. Last race of the season.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. To be fair, Matt, I'd take absolutely any track. Just the opportunity to go.
Yeah, no, it's same here. We actually nearly ended up at Brands GP the other year for the wedding anniversary of the missus, but she wouldn't let me. So
nice, very nice. I've only done living in Cornwall. There's very little open to you in any type of motorsport. To be fair, very little to watch down here. You have to travel so far to do everything. But I've been to Thruxton many times. Silverstone, I've been there for a Grand Prix. But I so want to go again to all these things. And, as soon as we get out of this rubbish times that we're having and get this horrible, dirty virus done and gone, we can all start getting out and enjoying motorsport again. But, hey, look at what we're watching on track.
Indeed, that is the case.
Racing, good, clean racing, plenty of action up and down the field. Why we haven't got the real thing, this is hugely entertaining and still will be when we get real motorsport back.
This was thoroughly a part of our lives last year during the lockdown, and it is now during the lockdown. We'll wait for Formula 1 and other forms of motorsport to get back going, as we see Morgan, Andy and G all still battling it out for what we do believe is net first place, while Luty McShooty and Melted Daz are still yet to come into the pits. Unorthodox well off the back of this pack now. He has dropped well off the back of Andy, and in fact kind of in no man's land, 4 seconds behind Andy, but 4 seconds up the road from John Boy. But Morgan here has really put G under some pressure for some laps now.
Yes, indeed. The three of them driving extremely well. It makes you feel like they're holding station a little bit and waiting for the best opportunities as we go on. But as we see G go slightly wide. Don't know if that'll get a slowdown. Don't think he'll get a slowdown for that one. He doesn't seem to be. As they go past, that's a great shot, isn't it? As they go past,
brilliant view with G getting so close there. Brilliant shot.
Absolutely. As we go on, here we go on board with Andy. As we see a puff of smoke coming out of the Clio in front, as Morgan is wringing the neck of that thing, as they all are, as they go down this straight. Who are they coming up behind? Are they coming up behind to lap somebody? Which could I don't know if they'll catch them by the end of these laps. Or not, we will certainly see.
Are they gaining on Melted Dazza maybe? The gap between G and Melted Dazza is 3 seconds. So I wonder if that's Melted Dazza that you may just catch a glimpse of in front. Looks about 3 seconds, that does, doesn't it, to be fair? So that could be the man who's not yet pitted, Melted Dazza. Although 1 minute 9 and they're doing 1 minute 10, that could also be Charlie Goff. A lap down.
Charlie Goff is managing to comment on the stream as well as drive. It's all I can do just to keep the car on the island. Let alone.
Tell you what, that Ferris wheel looks beautiful, doesn't it, in the dark?
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, it looks pretty.
Nice and lit up.
We need a night race at Suzuka. Anybody from Formula One, if Ross Broad's listening, which I know he does regularly, then night race in Suzuka, please.
Night race at Suzuka, and also put in a good word for with Toto Wolff for Dan, the Tiddlywing Cornish pasty eating champion for car number 44.
They need a driver because it's rumoured that Lewis Hamilton wants a 5-year deal as a Mercedes ambassador and wants £150 million for the privilege as well. Good luck with that one, Lewis. I know you're watching because he normally is. I say
who
good
isn't?
Luck with that.
There's 19 people. There's 19 people watching,
Neil,
and
probably.
Matt Neal's too good. Luty McShooty's pitted from P1 and's come out P6 just ahead of John Boy. That battle could be a bit juicy to watch to come towards the end of this race. Melted Dazza, the car in front. It's Charlie Goff. We do believe the car in front of G. As we see, Andy's just dropped off the back.
Yeah, he has a little bit. Let's go. When my huge sausage fingers get the right buttons going again, we will. My control pad doesn't want to work properly. Apologies, people. We'll get there in a sec.
So Mtcc just started lap 35 of 36 and hasn't yet came into the pits for his mandatory pit. Oh no, he's in now. So that was Mtcc just in front of G then. So Mtcc has pitted. So the net top 4, like we said, G2 on Orthodubs is now that. And G is just pulling out a couple of tenths on Morgan. Just enough, I think, to win this race, if you ask me.
Yes, indeed.
As we're on board with Morgan here, 7 tenths just behind the only J's. They're on lap 36, final lap of this race for these two guys. And what they're going to do is absolutely, Morgan's going to try and make G make a mistake, maybe get a bit of a slowdown come the end of this race. I don't think it's going to matter too much as Morgan has a time penalty, may have a slowdown there himself. And G, though, is about to cross the line for the final time in this race, and he's going to win the feature race here. It's been a great race between G and Morgan. Morgan took advantage race 1, but G comes straight back with an answer in race 2, and he's going to take the win here at Suzuka at Sakito International. What a win for the only G. Morgan will cross the line P2, Andy 3rd place. And a good drive from the top 3. And Orthodubs just a bit further back will take 4th. Looty McShooty looks like he's going to cross the line P5 after going long in the stint. Has actually came up, he was low down the order early doors, but going longer in his stint, he's finished P5. No, P4 after Dan on Orthodubs' penalties. John Boy 6th. Disco Stu will get 7th. Mtcc should hang on for 8th. And does so. Laney qualified front row of the grid as a filler in this one, down in P9, not the race he'd have wanted. DeHuis Rocker, will he get 10th? Will he hang on to it? He's got 6 seconds back to Bod. He just needs to make sure that his time penalties aren't greater than 6 seconds. We will find out though in a minute as he crosses the line P10. What will he be though when Bod crosses the line? Let's wait and see. I think Bod is been able to stay 11th. DeHuis Rocker's kept 10th. Emo Guy is going to finish P12. Not the night he'd have wanted, just not seem to have had the pace tonight. And Charlie Goff is going to cross the line P13 and last in this one. And that wraps up your action of Clio Cup racing then tonight. It's been fantastic to have you with us, Kelly. Great to have you in the commentary box as always.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed, Matt. It's been an absolute pleasure. Just to finish off the trivia thing, Daniel's not a Tiddlywink champion. He had to give up. He had to give up karate. He was a brown belt first Q. So those guys racing against him, don't upset him because he'll kick your head in. You know. So, well, he could when he was 9. You know. So I don't know about now, but that was the fact. Great racing from everyone. Do all the like stuff and all the rest of it. If you enjoy listening to me, I'm back with you, Matt, for Simplay.
You are Thursday night.
Yeah, Thursday night. Where are we? What are we doing?
We are at Snetterton 300 over at Simplay Motorsport Thursday night, live at 8 o'clock. So check us out. I'll be in the commentary box. Andy will be with me tomorrow night over there. I'll be back in the commentary box here at Motive though on Sunday night for the touring cars. There will be GT3 multi-class action on Assetto Corsa tomorrow night here at Motive Racing. We'll be back Friday night for our Formula 1 and GT5 coverage here at Motive as well, so make sure you check out them guys. Leave a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. If you want to get involved with any action here at Motive Racing, go to www.motiveracing.com or check them out on their Facebook page or Discord server. From all of us here though at Motive Racing, Kelly, been a pleasure to commentate with you once again.
Thank you.
Hope you all stay safe in these current times, and we'll catch you on Friday night, or unless you're here tomorrow. We'll take care though. Good night.
Good night, guys. Thank you.